the 13th of July 2023, and I was looking forward to doing a video, a YouTube live, and then I realised it's too warm. Just see where this speaker is. It's too warm for me to wear a hat. It is not cold, people. Like, there's a breeze. Can you feel that breeze? I've got, look, I've got this glove, and I'm just trying to work out where the microphone is. There was a horrible sound. That's a truck full of pigs, and they were screeching in not a good way. You know, it was actually really macabre. I didn't like that at all. So I've just put this on, this hat, this glove on, wondering where the microphone is, and I'll see where, like in the future, I'm definitely getting the muffler thing. Now, look, I've got a jumper on. This is a wool jumper. And I've got this jacket, which I don't really need. No gloves, no hat, no scarf. And it's getting on to sunset, not sunset time, but evening. There's a breeze. I don't know if you can see the breeze in my hair blowing. It's not cold. It's amazing. This time last year was so different. So, cycles of seasons is amazing, isn't it? This summer was nowhere near as hot or ferocious as the summer before. Last year, as I've shared with you before, we had three or four bouts of just think the microphone might actually be there. There's a little hole up the top of the phone. 3 or 4 bouts of 48-degree days for 10 days in a row last year, and this year we didn't have that, and that was brutal. Last year we had birds falling out of the sky. Birds were dying everywhere. It was that hot that birds were literally just falling out of trees, and sometimes just even out of the sky and just landing on the ground dead. They were already dead before they hit the ground. It was awful. And last winter, it was cold. It was cold, and it was a lot of thick fog until 11 a.m. in the morning, sometimes until 1 p.m. Yep. We also... Oh, there's someone up there. That's unusual. Hello, Alvin, Zena. Hang on, Alvin, Zena, come here. Come on, Zena. Zena, come here, sit. She's still a pup. Yeehaw! Do not, Alvin. Sorry, it's the first time I've seen push. Come here. Well done, darling. Come here now. Come on, hurry up. No, it's okay. I'm quite impressed with them. Come here now, Alvin, Zena. Come here. Alvin, Zena, stay near. Quick. Come on. Thank you. Whew, that was intense, man. That was like 2 people on push bikes going by, and I wasn't sure whether the dogs would jump on them or try to bite their tyres. None of that. And if I didn't have to worry about this wind, I might have even have turned it around to show you. They did follow the bikes at a good distance, not go near their legs or even near the bikes, but they came back very quickly. So that was good, right? I'm impressed with that, actually. It's funny with dogs how I love it when I can just walk with the dogs and we don't have any unusual situations, but when they do happen, as in someone else with their dogs or someone on push bikes or whatever, but when it does happen, it's actually good because it's part of their training and their socialising. And that, I'm impressed. I'm really impressed because Alvin came back to me straight away initially. Zena didn't, but she sat on the side of the road and just sat there and waited. She didn't actually go for the bikes. Then when the bikes came nearer to me, Zena ran back towards me. Then they both went to go to the people, but they still stayed a fair distance away from the people, smiling so the people didn't feel scared. They didn't jump on the people, they didn't jump on the bikes. Then when the people passed me and went on, they did chase them, but at about a 2 metre distance. No barking, no going for the tyres. And I have literally seen dogs like constantly for the the turning of the wheel. And I can tell you right now, I've even seen people try to push wheelbarrows and stuff, and the dog keeps going for the tyres. So that doesn't happen with my dogs, and I'm so happy about that. Woohoo! Anyways, this is a beautiful overcast day. It's not at all cold. Amazing. So back to the topic, and sorry about all the Alvin, Zena, come here, but I had to make that my priority. One of these days I'm going to learn how to edit the videos anyways, and the YouTubies. And I don't know if the wind's coming through, and if it is, the rain's starting now. If it does come through, well, I'll just delete the video. Anyways, everyone, cycles of seasons, cycles of life. And what I really want to share is this time last year, I was a mess. I was a complete and utterly broken, humbled to the very essence of my being, was just killed and dead, and really had no desire to be alive, and I was at very high risk of unalivening myself. The only thing that really kept me going was I had to keep on moving for Alvin's sake, because he was a pup, and I had to keep taking him for his walks, and I had my cat to look after, and it was a really challenging time, everyone, because this time last year, Alvin, Zena, there was a fox over there, Zena. This is an eventful day, everyone. Zena, come on. Thanks, Alvin. Come on. Yeah, there's a fox over there. And a big rabbit. Woohoo! Yeehaw! This is good that if a dog listens to you and there's a rabbit running down the road and a fox running down the road, that's interesting. Stay now. I can tell you something right now. I think the fox was chasing the rabbit, and the rabbit's still sitting in the middle of the road, and my dogs are still listening to me, and they're pups, for goodness sakes. This is phenomenal. This is phenomenal. That was a test, by the way. That was amazing. Because the fox ran away from them, and then the rabbit was further down the road, and it started to run as well, and they still listened to me and came back. Woohoo! So, everyone, I just want to say this year, I just went through a few days where I started to get really broken again, and I was sinking into some sort of strange, macabre, satisfying thoughts of, I could let myself go further and get to that unalivened state that I was at this time last year. And I was even thinking, I didn't think I would, as I've shared on videos, which I don't think I've put on my YouTube or my Facebook, but I did take some recording. Come on. I did record it to, listen to again or watch it. There was a point where I was so broken, I thought, no, I will record this. And I was alarmed that I was going down that track again. I didn't think I would, and I realised, no, it's a different layer. It's not to that same depth. And that really emboldened me to realise, yes, I am in a cycle of grief here, but nowhere near at the same depth or level that I was this time last year, even though I feel so broken and so low and blah, blah, blah. It was not to the same depths of despair. So I thought, okay, that I need to note. That's a win. And then when I started to really feel like I was slowly sliding into the illusion of I let myself slip further into sorrow, deep despair, and allow that unalivened mentality to come back in, that then I might just take myself out and be free of it all, I very quickly contacted a lot of people and didn't let them know that I was sinking into quite those levels of despair. Just said, I'm in sorrow, and I know it's of Satan to slip into isolation and to feel like we're a burden, that we're in so much sorrow, and God wants us to reach out and be part of loving, supportive community. So another win, because what I won then was I stepped out of my feeling of self-burden, self-worry, self-sadness, and I stepped up into bringing love and support and kindness and clarification and wisdom into my life, which is exactly what God wants us to do. I did that. I got surrounded by people that just bolstered up all the wisdom that I needed to remember that was already within me. And I didn't even go anywhere near sharing them how low I was feeling, because I didn't have to go share that. All I had to do was share that I was low and that I was feeling deep sorrow. And as I shared in one of my previous videos, which I may or may not have posted, I don't know yet, I'm losing track. Zena, Alvin! Can you see them in the field? I don't think you can. They're bounding. Can you see the black and the... what can you see? Oh yeah, can you see the brown and the black dot? Zena, Alvin! Zena, Alvin! Oh, here they are. I didn't even see them running. I can't see properly when I do it this way. Well, there's Alvin. There's little Zena. Okay, thank you. That reaching out to my community was phenomenal. It was such a self-loving, which just proves how much I've healed. Because as soon as I started to go too low, I knew that in that isolation, that's devil, get out of it. And I learned some really amazing lessons, and one of them was this wording. My beautiful neighbour, her wording was, pure sorrow is godly sorrow. And another friend of mine, I've shared all this before in videos I may or may not share, post, but basically another friend of mine says there's no time frame of how long we heal for, or how many times we have that, that if we have a repeat of a similar grief over a particular situation, there could be many different times of having grief around that situation. I, in my own way, worked out that my layer of grief was repeating itself, but it was happening at different layers, and it was at a more heightened level, like it was at a less despairing level. So to me, that onion healing that I was letting you, that I've shared, I'm walking up a hill now, that I was sharing with you all, that spiraling layer of healing. Well, I can really feel that I've done another lap of a grief with a similar trigger or a similar energy. And let's take it to the core wound of abandonment. But no, not abandonment. That's not for me. Core wound of it's deeper than abandonment. Core wound of it's a really weird thing to try to describe. It's different to abandonment. It's a core wound of nestling. So that need for nestling, that need to nestle. So that one of my core woundings that I'm coming really clear about is that need to nestle under a wing. Which is why this time last year, God saved me by nestling me under God's wing. I literally got brought back to life from hypothermia and kept alive by God's wings. And it was God's wings that pushed me forward to get me into the warmth of my own home and my own bed. So that's actually really interesting. Very interesting that I've just realised that the nestling have been under the wing of protection. Very interesting again. That's the Great Eastern Highway. I think I missed the trucks. Yeah, sorry. Oh, here you go. Here's some more for you. Just for any of you. I find it all fascinating. Great Eastern Highway. Those people there, they're heading towards Sydney, or they're heading, and that way is Perth. Lots and lots of trucks on the road. Anyways, Nestling under the protection of wings. That is interesting, right? So it's not abandonment. There's a core wound of wanting to nestle. So being in a nest. Aha. Now this is very interesting, everyone. So this is what I've just been healing from the last couple of days, and especially today. This is very relevant, everyone, because this is an extremely new learning. This is a new layer of healing for me, and this will resonate with some of you. So it's not a core wound of abandonment at all, okay? For me, there was something much deeper about it, because I wasn't really self-abandoning myself, and it's not like I was abandoned per se. So, for example, my mother didn't abandon me. My mother was just not capable of giving me the love that a child needs. She was unable to give herself that love, or anyone that love, because she's untested, undiagnosed, but very likely autistic. And she definitely has frontal lobal, not disorder, but frontal lobal inability to truly perceive the depths of emotions. So she needs to theorize a lot of emotions. It's the same as my son, and it's the same as one of my sons, and it's the same as a lot of people. A lot of people. There's more to it. It's not just frontal lobal disorder. There's more to it than that. I've just simplified it because I can't... Alvin! Excuse me, come here. Sorry, he was rolling in the grass, and I'm sure it was a dead animal or something lovely, smelling lovely to him and disgusting to me. Basically, come on. Love you, darling. Love you. There's a little darling. There's a little darling. Come. There's a little darling. Come on. Come. And over there is the cemetery that, hang on, I want to point in the right spot. It's a cemetery that Anthony, my husband, and I talked about getting buried in. And it's really interesting because he goes, oh, I said, we can do a plaque. And he goes, no point, no one will come here, no one will visit me, no one will even care where I'm buried, rah, rah. So he thought, oh, we'll just get cremated and have a little plaque on the, there's a little, you can get a little plaque put on a wall, a cremation wall. But I'm like, no, I want us to have two tombs. I want us to get the tombs next to each other and get them beautifully encrypted with, you know, some beautiful poetry, and you can even get photos embedded in them and everything. So I want to do something really special. But I found it so sad that day. We said, no one will care where I'm buried anyways. They'll never visit the tombstone anyways. And I was like, I think you're underestimating how important you are to people. I'm pretty sure someone apart from me cares about you and loves you as well. But he really firmly believed that he didn't matter to anyone and they didn't matter to him. And it's really bizarre, that topic, and that's abandonment. There's a core wound of legit not feeling like you really fit in anywhere. And I've been thinking about that a lot, like my husband's core wounds. Cannot wait to do the deep work in when there's a time to work out with gentle, when there's a time to work with a really good professional, which I've already found a few that are really good with birth of origin, trauma, and let's actually work out. Let's work out what some of his deep core wounds are with a really amazing professional. Looking forward to that journey. I have been coming up with some ideas, but whilst I've been coming up with some of these ideas, I've been wondering about his and my similarities with our traumas and our wounding. Because, obviously you've got to have a similar wounding language to a lot of people. When they've got similar wounding, they're really drawn to each other. And there's a theory that twin flames have a similar wounding. So I've been looking at my woundings in order to help do the mirror work and the spiritual 5D twin flame healing, to healing my deep inner traumas and inner woundings, really deep subconscious inner woundings, dark shadow woundings that have been really activated from my husband and I coming in union in 3D, coming together in a physical union for twin flames is a catalyst for massive, deep shadow work to be activated. Gentle, massive, deep shadow work. Massive, deep shadow work. It's a blessing. The twin flame journey is one that is one of the most arduous journeys that you could ever go on, yet succeeding in the lessons creates one of the most biggest rewards God could ever give to human beings. So, and that reward is godly ordained spouses in union with the Trinity of God, and then the three work as a power trinity. And it's only when the two twin flames work out their deep shadow work and heal it with God's grace, and then come together in union and then work out how to be in the higher frequency. So living in the higher frequency as a 3D couple. So aligning the mind, body and soul in 5D and 3D. This journey, when people ace it, is what then allows that couple to really do powerful big work in this planet. So that's been one of my motivations, to go as deep as I can without fear, because I know the outcome there, the ensuing reward per se. I don't like the word reward, but the ensuing outcome is one of such amazing mirror healing, not just within the masculine, the feminine, within this body, this vessel of me, but within the masculine, feminine energy of my twin flame, who currently is alive and exists on planet Earth in 2003. And he's currently my legal husband, not just my twin flame, but also my husband. So the story is that I've been looking at my inner, really going deep into my inner wounds, my inner traumas. I had a coffee before, and I left my coffee cup nestled in the trunk, and it was a yummy coffee. Basically, and now there's a slug on it, lovely. Let me get that sluggy slug off. Ugh. So basically, this deep inner trauma work has been such a wonderful blessing, and as of today I can really feel a difference in my being. I feel, and part of me's been attempting to work out what my twin flame husband's really deep inner wounding is, because it's through that as wife I can be Ezra. I can be true Ezra. I might sit here for a while. See, there's a really nice cute little seat here. Might sit here for a little minute, finish off the video, because the car's not very far away. Oh. So basically, I've been really doing a lot of deep healing shadow trauma work, and I've really allowed myself to go really deep into the pure sorrow, and I've allowed myself to go into the deep pure sorrow in a stance of not needing to understand it, not needing to analyze it, not needing to shift it as quickly as I can. One of my friends said to me, fall into, let yourself succumb to the experience of the pure sorrow. Just allow yourself to just really, truly just go into the deep pure sorrow in full humbleness, in full acceptance of the sorrow just for what it is, just as is, without having to understand it, label it, describe it, come up with ideas of how to work through it, blah, 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 blah. The way she worded it was exactly what I need to hear, and she always words things, this is my beautiful neighbour, she always words things in a way that makes it so, she lets God channel through her for sure. And she's been one of my biggest support people. It's incredible. So the words pure sorrow and pure sorrow being godly sorrow was what I needed to hear in order to let go of any narrative of I should be beyond this, past it, have healed it by now. Oh, this same trauma, it's coming up again. Oh, I'm coming up with a similar response to a similar feeling. Anyways, when I finally just accepted it for as it was and just allowed it to be, it was crippling. Like I spent days basically crying, and quite a few nights where I couldn't sleep because I was crying so heavily. Like the tears were so thick that even 4 tears would cover my face. Like I'm talking about really thick, hot, sticky tears, and I could feel them coming out. And as they came out, they felt almost like oil. And then when they felt like blobs of hot glue or something, and then they would come down my face, and they'd move quite slowly because there wasn't a lot of weight, but then the rest of the tears were, and then my face was just wet and the pillow was just drenched, and I just let it come out without judgment. And one of my friends said, Nadina, once you really go deep into that pure sorrow, you will then come at the other end, and that's where the healing is. So I think I may have transcended another trauma. I think I've transcended another trauma as of today, and it's quite an exciting possibility or revelation. But the reason why I think I've transcended from deep sorrow to really truly I've come to the other end is I'm feeling this sense of lightness in my chest. I'm feeling this sense of like I can breathe. Like my pain, my heart here was hurting so much. It was clenched. It was excruciating feeling. It was very painful physically as well as mentally. And now my heart feels really light, and my mind feels really light. And I'm getting some insights and revelations which I want to share at one point. But I'm getting so many revelations. And today, one of my revelations was, right, now I'm strong enough to step up as Ezra helper again. So I've actually stepped from my deep sorrow, from the agony of my husband, being in such deep tragedy and deep trauma that there's been all these scenarios that have occurred that have done nothing but cause him and I excruciating pain. And releasing that to purely to, I do not know God's perfect timing. I do not know when God plans on creating the miracle of my husband's heart and trauma being healed enough that he can take the next step towards. So it's quite a complex topic. But his healing involves feeling self-love. My journey was involving self-love as well. But I've actually been working on this process of self-love for quite a long time. And I've been doing it in increments. My husband did it from pretty much the diving board and jumped straight into the deep end. So he did it all in one fell swoop. And apparently that's actually how it works. So apparently the feminine in the healing relationship, the feminine in the twin flame relationship, or the feminine is the healer and the leader, and it's the feminine who does the hard work for years and years and years, or a really long time. And then when she gets to the healed space, when the feminine energy gets to that healed space, then the masculine energy mirrors that and is able to do their healing work, but they do it fast and hard. So they do it in a really, really hard way, like all at once basically, but they do it much, much faster. They just because the way is already being led for them. It's already been made on an energetic level. The feminine energy within them has already been healed. So then they just got to work on healing the masculine energy. Whereas the the masculine energy for some reason is unable to heal the feminine within them, and then they're masculine. But once the feminine, their counterpart, heals the feminine, when the feminine counterpart, when the female twin flame, when the feminine energy in a twin flame dynamic does the deep hard work to heal their feminine and their masculine, then their twin flame masculine is able to heal their masculine, their distorted masculinity, because the feminine in them has been healed. The feminine energy within them that desperately needed healing got healed by their feminine counterpart. So in my situation, I'm the feminine energy in a female body, and my husband is the masculine energy in a masculine body, which actually makes our journey simpler to show as a testimony in the future. But for other people, it's so different. And we'll go into the complexities of all the different dynamics later, because the best way to show it sometimes is with diagrams or, Anyways, Zena, Alvin. So anyways, the point of the story is there's been a shift. And in my shift, and that on an esoteric level, on a 5D level, that heals so much. And that allows more 3D healing. Zena, Alvin. But thank you, darlings. That's not necessarily why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because for me, for my being, me healing my masculine, my feminine is what God requires of me. Because for me to truly love all of who I am, love me the way that God loves me, love me the way I need to love myself in order to be of service to humanity, do God's work, be of service. This is my motivation. And it always had to come from surrendering the 3D physicality, because that in itself is just a comfort zone. And the 3D physicality, and by that I'm talking about you have your partner next to you. So imagine if my husband was next to me right now, we could hug, we could kiss, we could talk, we could see this view together, and it feels really comfortable, it feels really lovely, it feels beautiful, it feels exquisite. And of course there's a sorrow in not having that. So this 3D counterpart not being here is an absence in my 3D world. But for me to accept that the physical absence is not the reality, that's an illusion. My husband and I are connected by soul. So my husband is here with me now. He's in the esoteric world around me in my 5D way of living. Our 5D experiences, we are connected, and we always will be. And this has been a real hard thing for me to accept, because I so want him physically here, you see. So I have to have him physically and be able to kiss him and laugh with him and talk with him. And that's been the deep sorrow, the pure sorrow of accepting that my physical counterpart, my physical husband, is not next to me right now. To accept that, and to accept and surrender to that reality, because he is unable to be there in the 3D until in here I've healed my masculine and my feminine. And then when he, in his 3D, heals his masculine and his feminine. From the same soul tribe. Because the whole thing about soul family and soul counterparts is that we're all fragmented from the same soul tribe. And it's really interesting. I've been really reading up on it lately. And it's the same soul tribe comes from, there's this one soul essence. And some of us come from the soul essence of God and Christendom. And some of us come from a different energy altogether. But those of us who come from the soul tribe of God and the soul tribe of Christendom, we all are fragmented souls that need to be drawn together in our existence as 3D humans in order to truly work together doing divine will. But it's the restored memories, it's the restored conviction. It's the restored conviction of getting above the illusions. So check this out for my reality. So this is my exquisite view right now. And the river's just behind there. There's my little doggies. little xenovena rolling on the ground. And pretty soon, a bit of blue sky and all the grey. And I've got to go home, put some wood in the fire, and I have wood to put in the fire. My ute has been not starting all the time, and today it started. I'm pretty sure when I get there it's going to start. I've got regular work now, and I can start getting the car fixed up and this and that, blah, blah. My point that I'm trying to make is my physical world is stunning, and I guess you could say in some ways and my physical reality, I'm quite safe, and in some ways you could say, oh, that makes it easier to see the godliness of everything and to not slip into, financial or heartbreak type 3D despairs. In saying that, yesterday I wouldn't have seen the same beauty here. I had the stress over the vehicle, I had the stress over money, I had the stress over this, the stress over that, because I was in a darker, dense space. So in this godly energy, when I step up into this godly energy, I see the truth of the matter. And the truth of the matter is nature. Nature, sky, trees, earth, anything that's godly created, which of course humans are. Some birds that just flew by. Humans are fallible. These trees, they are not infallible. They are innocent. That tree there is innocent. That grass is innocent. They are made from God. They are innocent. Human beings, custodians of earth, we are the ones that sin in us. We are the ones who have to really do the hard work to become innocent. And one of the only ways we can become innocent is that pure surrender to God's journey for us. Now, God definitely brought me to Northern. God definitely really guided me to marry my husband, guided my husband to marry me, guided my husband and I to move to Northern, guided my husband and I to take on this journey. Inadvertently, along the way, we lost our way because we were too sinful and we weren't honouring God, and we weren't honouring our journey with God as being our guider, and our journey has been made harder and taken longer, and there's been more pain there because of that choice to not put God first and to fall into comfort zones and to fall into familiarity patterns. And for both my husband and I, that involved letting original... Oh, you're wet. She's wet. Ah! Yeah, that actually allowed my husband and I to slip into 3D trauma wounding responses, which then allowed deep shadow work activation to occur. And that was of God's doing. So I still to this day, and it's going to get clearer and clearer and clearer over time, but I still to this day do not know how much of the 3D trauma inner wounding here activation that came up was required. Was it all needed? Did it have to go that dark and that heavy in order to become a true child of God and to truly surrender as a godly power couple? That is something that will get answered over time. My husband and I will be the testimony to that. For now, all I can say is I'm grateful for how it's all been, and I'm grateful for the learnings. I'm grateful for the training. I'm grateful for where I am at now. I really am there's the rain. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful and so grateful for the absolute tragedy of how it's been for this last 12 months, because the complete tragedy of everything that's occurred all it has done is train me to be one of the most committed, surrendered children of God, and God needs us as his warriors and his ambassadors. And in full faith and full trust, when I did that pure sorrow work, that doesn't just heal me and my masculine, my feminine, it also heals and ripples out the world. Because the more we do, it's just running cute. The more we do, the more healing we do. I'll see if he's got it still. No, he let it go. He's got it. They're going to play with the buck together. Has he got it? Woohoo! The more we do with ourselves, the more we're truly of service within God's destiny for us. So it's my surrender to God that I do that deep sorrow work. It's my surrender to this journey. And when I fall myself feel myself falling into depths of despair or thinking I need to isolate or I'm a burden, that is now when I reach out to this beautiful collective of amazing fellow tribe members who God has brought into my life, and God's brought me into their life. So, purpose of this video, everyone, I have definitely transcended another level of healing. I can feel it from where I was yesterday and the depths of grief and not despair, the depths of grief and sorrow I was in. I wasn't in despair, I was in sorrow. The depths of sorrow that I was in, and I allowed myself to go deep into it, including today when I was doing the dishes. The sorrow hit me so hard that I actually lost all my body strength, nearly broke a bowl. I was in the middle of washing a bowl, and the sorrow hit me so hard, I just slumped forward, and I had to rest my arms. I had gloves on, but I had to rest my arms on the side of the sink and put my head to the top of the tap and just cry and cry and cry. And the bowl I was washing fell back into the water, and I just cried and cried and cried, slumped over the sink. And then I got up and I kept trying to wash the dish, and I just felt like my body was just going to collapse from the pure weakness of the sorrow that hit me hard. And I just let my body shake, and I just leant on the sink, but at that point I could lift my head up, and then there's a window to the left of my sink, and I just look out and I meditate onto the sky as I'm completely weak and shaking. And then I went, thank you, dear Lord, for all your love. I love you, and I'm so grateful to be releasing this sorrow. So that process lasted me about 10 seconds, and I just surrendered to it. And I was like, whoa, that hit me really fast. And every time I get hit by grief or sorrow, it's that heavy, it's that deep, it's that hard. And then the outcome of it is it's this incredible, absolutely mind-blowing, like, I'm going to have to use the word peace and equilibrium. And how do I word that? Okay, I've come, today I basically got all these revelations that came through. The reasons why the revelations came through is because I was in a space where I could receive the information, because I've now transcended to another level of godly awareness, and God is now letting me receive the rest of the messages. And God has literally asked me to basically go to war. God has actually asked me to step up, put my shield of faith on, put my armor of godly faith, put my godly armor on, step up, and as Ezra, be my husband's helper. That's what I got asked to do today. Step up, my sweet child, be your husband's beautiful, ever devoted, ever loving, so powerful helper. And you help him. You help him be the man that he is destined to be. Because without you, my love, he will not get there. He needs you to help him to get there. Without your help, he will not make it. Now, I will not lie. There was a part of me that was like, he needs to step up for himself. He needs to da. I let it creep in for about 5 seconds, and I went, Nadina, you have been literally going through so much resentment work. God's been begging me to focus on forgiveness and resentment for months with my husband. Months. God's saying, I need you to forgive. I need you to let go of your resentments. I'm going, how? How can you let this resentment go when there's been so much betrayal and so much dastardly, like, backstabbing, not even backstabbing, front stabbing, no front stabbing, sorry, backstabbing, gutless, weak, pathetic / evil behaviors and attitudes. Like, how can you ever trust someone ever again, or truly release resentment of someone that has gone to that level of destruction? And the answer is, I need you to let go of your resentments. That's all I heard last week and the week before and the month before. Today, what do I hear? my love, I need you to step up as Ezra and help your beautiful husband. Help protect your husband. Help protect and help him get to be the man that he is destined to be, which he cannot be without your help. Now, I was able to hear that message because I actually have let my resentments go. The reason why I've let my resentments go is because I've been able to really see my husband's actions as that of an extremely traumatized being. So we're talking about someone who has inadvertently done horrific acts, really horrific betrayals from a place of abject fear of how great he is and what it means to live a life with and in love and with and under God's divinity. Like, that's big. That's living big. And that fears him. He feared. He went to fear mode and went to small mode and said, no, I need to go back to the world that I've known my whole life. I know it's demonic. I know it's evil. I know it's just my slow death. But that's all I know. That's what I know well. Even though I despise it, that's what I know well, and that's where I think that's all I deserve. That's all I deserve. I'm not worthy of anything more. How could I get anything more, or how could I receive anything more? I'm unworthy. And so when I started getting these messages, because that's what I've had to work through, that's the healing that I've had to work through in my masculine. Me healing my masculine within me has helped me realize where and why and how my husband feels like he's unworthy of love and godly divine blessings. So now that I'm aware of just what really limiting, fear-based, horrifyingly debilitating, low self-worth, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go too deep into that. The dogs are waiting for me to get in the car. It's starting to get cold now. I've got to get home, light the fire. We'll talk about that another time. But by getting to that perspective, and to say none of it was like, he's in such morbid shame. He's in such horrifying shame for how he's treated me. Is that not forgivable? And no, there is no apology that he could ever say that will undo the pain and the damage that's been caused over the last 12 months, especially, or last 15 months, especially the last 7 months. There is no apology that can undo that pain and that anguish. And that's not for our human apology to achieve. That's a godly peace. That type of hurt can only be healed. Really, it can only be healed with God's caress. God's caress. Come on, little ones. God's caress, everyone, is the only way traumas can be healed. Humans we don't have the ability to heal it on our own. We need God's caress. We need God's peace to come into our heart. It's only through God's peace. Okay, hang on a second. Wait. Xena Beaner's wet, so I'll take this off. In you get, little darlings. She's wet. In the back, quick. Yeah, I always bring a towel because I don't know why. But if I open the seat forward, she won't get in. It's like she's sort of scared of the small space. But the funny thing is, on the way out, she doesn't want to come through the middle and out. She only wants to come out if I put the thing down. That's weird, isn't it? I'll tell you one thing, having dogs is an interesting way to look at yourself as a human and how God looks at us as humans, because God is constantly allowing our idiosyncrasies and our... So Xena wants to come out with the front seat rolled down, but she only wants to get in through the front. She won't get in if I roll that seat down. That's weird, isn't it? So I could either make a big deal about it, try to force her to do it this way or that way, or I could just lovingly let her get in and out the way she feels safest to do so, because it's no bloody skin off my nose, is it, to roll the seat forward, down or back, in or out, you know what I mean? Seriously. And that's what God's like with us. And I always go, where's the key? Where's the key? And I use it to feeling for it in my pocket, and it's like, well, I opened the door with it, so obviously it's either not in my jacket. And the funny thing is, then I realised it was in the bloody in the ignition. But anyways, everyone, yeah, this process of letting go of resentment and forgiveness, which God's been asking me to do for a long time, trust me, it's been really, really hard for me to do. And I think I got there purely from that process of pure sorrow. And that process of pure sorrow, for me, was a process of letting my husband go, because on a 3D level, I was letting him go. I was actually letting him go. I was actually going, this is the level of despair I feel over what's happened, and I have no idea what the future holds, and it's all out of my control. Like it's up to, I'm not going to go into that right now because we've already done 51 minutes. Basically, everyone, I let my husband go. Okay, I took the rings off. All right, that was the first step. It felt so disgusting to have the rings on. On the 21st of June, he did something that was so despicable, which I don't even know if it was him to this day, but he's still a part of it. But there's something that he did that was so despicable that I went, nah, squirmy, wormy, MAGGOT. And then I thought, worse than that, choosing to be the turd, to feed the MIGOTTs. I'm not even going to say that word out loud, because I'm training myself to not think of these people like that, because that is not good for me to think of them in that space. But the most squirmiest, parasitical sort of irky energy you could ever imagine, and by my husband succumbing to that, because it was almost like, okay, I have to do everything I can to get you gone for whatever reason. You are the enemy. I'm making you the enemy in every way, even though he and I and God and all of our friends and everyone who knows us really well knows what he and I have is pure love. He was prepared to go that low and that dark to succumb to a safety net, to keep himself that small in order to continue doing something that he has been doing his whole life, that he hates and despises and can't. He loathes himself for having wasted so much of his life living a certain way, and yet he reverted to that. Now, this is a common dynamic, everyone. It is common, because that's what he knew, that's what he felt safe with. On a real 3D, limited, dysfunctional, traumatized level, that is what he was familiar with. So he inadvertently, from a trauma space, because it actually takes a lot of courage to step up into all we can be. It takes a lot of courage to do that. The difference between my husband and I is I've never had a safety net. I've never had a safety net to fall into. I've never had one. Never. I've never had a safety net. So I've always had to work it out, make it happen, rah. And my thing was to go, it's not just me working out, I've got God and me. So it's harder for people who have safety nets. Everyone, we must forgive these people who have safety nets. And my husband has one big safety net, but it's a cesspit. It's a cesspit of a safety net. There is nothing healthy, good, kind, or loving, or helpful, or healthy about that safety net. But it is familiar, and it allows everyone to be lazy and do nothing and be small and stay contracted and restricted, and we'll go in collusion mode and we'll keep ourselves here and we're going to be okay. So it's not a safety net in the sense that it saves you to have a good life. It's a safety net as in, you can start trying to go and do something big and you can fall back on it immediately, but only if you succumb to the narrative. So you have to be a liar, a deceitful person, someone who focuses on hate and judgment and this and that and rah. We have to have a villain. We have to have someone that's the villain. So who's the villain? Oh, you want that person to be the villain? Oh, and I can join you if I cause that person the villain? Okay, well, I'll go back there and do all this little way of living, and we'll call that person the villain, even though I know in my heart that person is definitely not the villain. That person is one of the most spectacular, most beautiful, most amazing, most kindest, most loving, most generous, most creative, most inspiring people I've ever met in my life, who I call my best friend and my beautiful lover. And I'm so this person brings me so much joy, and I'm so happy when I'm with this person. But yes, I will call that person the villain just to go small, just so I don't have to grow. But then hang on a minute. No. Because once you start to grow and you revert back to that safety net, if you have the unfortunate reality of having a safety net, I've come to realize safety nets are not a healthy, good thing. And God loves it when we are people who have no safety net and we continue going on in life. Because some people with no safety net don't survive. Some people with no safety nets actually don't survive past their teens. Life is just too difficult. I am an enigma in the sense that I survived without a safety net, and I also survived without reverting to having to numb myself out or addict myself to anything. So I'm an enigma, everyone. I am an enigma. And I've come to realize what an enigma I really am. And in me being an enigma, that is what helps me be such a super empath and such a light worker and such an angel of God, because I've traversed this world in the 3D, actually living in the 5D the whole time, being aware of my 5D whilst living in the 3D, and aligning the 5D and the 3D as much as I can together to get to this, to make my life and the world around me what I know world can be. So anyways, everyone, I have fully forgiven my beautiful husband and fully let go of my resentments. And when I say fully, when I say that, I don't think that's true, because I think there's always going to be a human part of me that has some reservoir. Maybe I will 100% let it go. Right now, I fully feel that I have transcended through so much sorrow over what's occurred, that I think I've been falling into my husband's sorrow. On an energetic level, I think I've been feeling his deep sorrow and his deep sense of being a burden. And then I've actually even got to a sense of identifying and understanding his deep sense of shame, which is why on some level he feels like he is a despicable maggot. And maybe that's why that word has been coming into my thoughts, because maybe that's how he sees himself. Maybe that's what's been happening. Maybe on some level he is on an energetic level showing me just how despicable he feels about himself. And I had to feel that yucky sense of resentment that he is feeling for himself. And I had to really feel that to actually get to a point where then I could actually really come to a place of, my love, I'm here for you. I am your ever devoted wife. I'm your Ezra. I'm your Ezra. I'm your ever devoted wife. I love you with my heart and soul. I always have. I always will. What you have done is forgivable, and I forgive you. So that's where I've come to in the last couple of days, and that has come from a place of seriously surrendering to deep sorrow. And that's one of the outcomes of shadow work, everyone. Mwah. Okay, shutting this video down. Adios, amigos, my beautiful 369 Thrive Tribe. We're doing big work, heavy work, and it's all to help heal the planet. Help heal the planet, help heal ourselves, help our loved ones, help heal the animals, help heal the earth. A lot of healing needs to happen in this world, okay? And we, the light workers, are the way showers. We are the beginning of the ripples that actually will completely heal planet Earth. And God needs us. Mwah. Okay, lots of love. Bye. Love you. God bless.